This is going to be a video about why ice may not be the best solution right after an injury and what the possible solutions could be. So you've all heard of RICE. It stands for rest, ice, compression, and elevation. This was first talked about by Dr. Gabe Merkin in 1978, and he suggested that if right after an injury you apply ice and then you rest, compress, and elevate, it'll actually speed up the healing time.
Here, I got some ice for your ankle. You're going to want to leave that on for about 20 minutes, okay?
Okay.
How's your ankle feeling?
Still really hurts.
But in 2015, he rescinded that comment, saying that ice can actually slow the healing time. The reason is because ice constricts blood vessels, and that's not what you want. What you want right after an injury is to allow the natural process. That's why we get pain and swelling, because the body is actually sending in healing factors and white blood cells with excessive fluid. So what's the solution? My favorite solution is a topical herbal compress. Here I have a formula. It's called Shuangbaishan, which translates to 2 whites powder. As you can see, this is not a powder, and it's not very white, but it refers to the contents of this. There's actually 5 different herbs. And what I did with this is I ground it, and it turned into a powder. The reason why this is good is because the combination of these 5 ingredients works to naturally reduce inflammation and allow healing process by opening up the vessels and promoting blood flow. This is much better than ice, because ice will stop or slow the healing process, while this will let it continue while reducing pain. This is the prepared topical formula. Before you put it on, you're going to want to make sure that the patient has no open wounds in the side of the injury. You can tell that she doesn't, so we're good to go. Start by opening the jar and applying a small amount to the site of injury. For her, it's right here. You want to cake enough on to make sure that it stays. I'll take my gloves off and put some saran wrap around it. Leave on for up to 24 hours or until the swelling and redness goes down.